Okay, and we're back with a focus here on the thematics of our sociology class, and specific this week to Chapter 2 is the focus on methods. And these are the very specific ways that we approach the world through using forms of participant observation, ethnography, survey research, statistical analyses, material culture analysis, secondary research in libraries and archives and forms of material culture and so forth. What I've pictured here are some of my own forms of research. So I do research in what I call themed and immersive spaces, specifically theme parks, themed casinos, themed restaurants. I actually worked on my dissertation, which was an ethnographic analysis of working in a Six Flags theme park in Houston, Texas, known as Astroworld, and that theme park is no longer open. So the research I do involves going to these consumer spaces. As you can see here, I'm at a Disney theme park. And I have my notebook in hand, and I am taking down copious notes and trying to analyze and become more aware about what I'm studying. And this is a constructed space, right? It's a space that is constructed here specifically for consumer purposes. Here's another example of that, also at a Disney theme park, as I'm taking notes in one of the themed and immersive spaces within, in this case, Epcot, the Disney theme park in Orlando. So the research I do is quite interesting and intriguing because it focuses on trying to understand the nuances of what's going on in consumer spaces. And what I find challenging about this research is that a lot of what I'm presented with, when I enter one of these spaces initially, right, I'm getting the sense of what is authentic and what is inauthentic, what is real, what is simulated, what is true and what is a fiction, and so forth, and other variations. So it's quite challenging to study a space like this because I'm getting into something that has a very simulated nature on its surface. But yet I undertake this research and I conduct it because I'm really passionate about what I study in these spaces and because of the many years I've spent in the industry, working in a theme park, and today also doing consulting work for theming and immersion in various industries. So I present my methodological approaches here, my specific ethnographic research, to give you some insights about what real research looks like. I'll share with you some of my additional research videos and observations that I have about research, maybe some of my articles, and I hope you'll get a chance during the quarter to seek out other social scientists, other sociologists who conduct research in different spaces, who do all sorts of a variety of research, ranging from the quantitative approaches that are more numerical or statistically based to the qualitative approaches, such as the sort that I'm engaged in, which gets into looking at doing interviews and understanding the interpretations and nuances and feelings of people in these various spaces that I happen to study. So here are some questions to ask you for this week. The first question is, what is the value of sociological methods? What can we learn about the world, ourselves, and others through the engagement of forms of research? So think about what this research means. What is the value on the surface? I'm not implying this in any sense. You could consider it in any way that you do. The value could mean a number of things. So how would you think about the value of social science research? Second, what are some things that we might study more closely? And related, what types of methods would be appropriate to conduct a sociological study? So ask a question of yourself this week. What would you like to study? And what methods might you use to conduct that study? Now, as I think about this a little more pragmatically, I might just say, turn on the news this week, and what do you hear? What are people talking about? And then ask yourself the second question that you can find represented all over the internet and discussion fora, in blogs and news stories and videos, whatever. Can we trust the information, the reality that's given to us? This really parallels quite nicely what you're going to be understanding in the chapter on the social construction of reality. And in that chapter, I'll talk about Plato's cave and the matrix. But for this purpose, we might say, can I use methods? Can I use my own analysis of the world to better understand that world? Or should I just rely on what people tell for me? Should I not get an education? Should I not learn anything? Should I not read? I could just play video games. I could just watch movies. I could just listen to talking heads on TV. We really have a choice in terms of how we engage the world. And I'm asking you then, how might you employ these methods that we'll learn in sociology to understand the world around us? I'll share this with you later in the quarter, but as an introduction today, we can see that there are various types of research methods available. There are quantitative approaches, which are numerical, There are qualitative approaches, which are much different. And then there are field approaches. So when I describe the research I did initially in the theme park, it's a field-based research and specifically using ethnographic approaches. Okay, so there are all sorts of different types of research. We're coming from the social sciences and specifically sociology, but if you take psychology, if you take anthropology, if you take econ, any number of other social science classes, you also get into looking at research methods. So I hope you think about these two questions I posed to you this week and think more generally about the information given to us, the veracity of that information, and how we can use our own approaches to research, our own methods, quasi or professional, academic or popular, as a way of developing what we might call intellectual self-defense as we negotiate the world and all the competing truths, simulations, and realities that we might encounter. So come back, if you will, for the third focus on these thematics for Sociology 101.